Dear friends, welcome to another episode of The Human Weave, Season 2 Breaking Stereotypes. This season, we have been sharing stories of courage, rising against the tide, and breaking norms to create new realities. I'm Yesh alongside Rosh, and we are so glad that you're joining us today for this power packed episode.
Today's conversation invites us to rethink what strength really looks like. Sometimes an inspiring journey isn't measured in words, but in quiet confidence. Our guest, Sreejeeta Ghosh, lives with a hearing impairment from birth, but you'll quickly discover that sound isn't the only way to be heard. She has navigated worlds where silence often meant invisibility, choosing instead to show up with grace, grit, and creativity.
Trained as a fashion designer, Shijita has worn many hats. She has led a front office team at ITC hotels and has recently stepped into a new professional space. She's an artist at heart, a dancer, a sketch artist, a photographer, and a storyteller whose life is a testament to breaking barriers without saying a word.
In this episode, we explore how Srijita challenges stereotypes around disability and communication, carving her own path with resilience and style. Her journey encourages us to rethink assumptions and recognize the many ways people express power, presence, and passion. We are also joined by Srijita's sister, Rishita, who brings a vital perspective to our conversation today. Having walked alongside Srijita throughout her journey, Rishita helps us break through communication barriers and offers heartfelt insights that deepen our understanding. As we navigate this episode together, we are beautifully reminded that breaking barriers is often a shared journey.
Welcome to the Human Wave, Shijita and Rishita. We are truly grateful for your time and presence as we come together for this unique and inspiring conversation.
Sure.
Shrijita, can you share what is it growing up with a hearing impairment and how you have developed your incredible lip reading skills?
Okay, so she's telling that, of course, as soon as she discovered that she was, she needs something special. So she understood that, okay, she is special or she is a bit different than all of us. But then she learned it very quickly. And then she realized that if she wants to be with all of us, she needs to quickly learn how to lip read. And then that told her that when people are talking, you look at their lips and you will try to understand. She quickly understood that, okay, this is the way that she can learn things faster, and that's how she adapted to the lip reading skill.
Wow. Like, I think that is also how any baby kind of starts speaking. Like, Rishita, now you have a small baby at home. I'm sure that is something we are trying to do when our babies are small, that we say the words slowly and make sure the child can see what we are saying. And your dad had picked up that
Yeah.
to encourage her to be with everybody the
Yes.
same way that all of us were interacting, right?
Absolutely.
Rishita, tell us a bit about your childhood together.
Mhm.
How was your family's response when you realized Srijita is different?
So we were, we belong to a very middle class family context. So we were staying in a very small and cozy house with my cousins and my grandparents. So it was a small but a well knit family, I would say. So of course she came to our life when me and my other cousin, we were around 4 years old. So we were also like quite young to understand, and it was like, oh yeah, you have a baby in the house, and it that itself was like a miracle for us. It was like, oh wow, there can be somebody younger to us. But then as and when we started growing up, so my granddad, he was a doctor. So very early, I think around 6 to 8 months window, he understood that there was something different with her, and then he was pushing us to say, okay, I would like you to go and see things. There is something different with her, and that's when we got to know. So it was around, I think, yeah, 7 to 8 months, we discovered that there is something happening with her, and we, of course, we did that. In the beginning, when we understood what was the concern, actually, to be very honest, till date, we don't know why this has happened to her, because when generally the doctors told us it's either genetic or some kind of issue that the mother has during pregnancy, but we had nothing. So till date, we don't know why it had happened. So that itself was a kind of blank space for us. But the good thing was, because we were, I think our family was quite adaptable, and we had to just be responsive in that stage, and we said, okay, this is how it is. And especially, I think, thanks to my dad, who played a very important role for us to say, okay, this is how it is, and we have to move on. And my dad was like, okay, she's just one among us. So she quickly, and whatever it is, it was like we would never leave her with the sympathy that, okay, she has something different. She would get scolded. Of course, we would get scolded because she was the youngest in the house. That was the different part. But she did exactly the things that we did. So however we were growing up, she was growing us the same way. But yeah, I think, and then we just said, okay, this is how it is, and we just moved on. And she would go and mix with people. We would just leave her alone, and she would go and talk to people alone. She would figure out herself. So that way, in the beginning, it was like, oh, Sreejeeta is Rishita's sister. But then very soon it was like, oh, she is Sreejeeta's sister. So it became like that because she had the impairment. But then her way of expression and her way of interaction won people's heart. So people would very easily gel with her. And then they would never feel that, oh, she has some kind of problem, but she would be like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And she was also very jovial, and she would just mix with people. So that way, I think it was good. I mean, it was very smooth, and then soon she started winning people's heart.
So it's the mindset becomes such an important factor, right? Like when something different happens in our own family, the first
Yeah,
reaction can be panic or,
of course.
fear that comes up. But to quickly transfer it into something more positive. Can you
Yes.
talk a bit more about that?
Absolutely. And I mean, just to connect to that, I think, I when there are certain incidents that come. So she went to the preschool with other kids, like not to any special school, but she went to a preschool where she was, playing, or let's say studying with other kids. So we had a speech therapist for her, and he said, just let her go and explore, because preschool is still a stage where I would say again, it's a very important stage till the 3 4 years of your life when you're stepping into that world. And she would go and play with friends, and she would fight with other kids, like how they would do. And then once she started her school, so she did her schooling from a special school where they had all, like, specially trained teachers for mostly deaf children. So there she learned sign language, and then she came back home, and she was like, you know what, I will teach you sign language. And that's when I was like, oh wow, like, of course people know a lot of languages, but today, when we go out, or I if I meet somebody like her, I'm able to talk to them. And it's like, me, my husband, my brother, we are like, oh, we have the skill of talking to that people. And the best part is the joy that you see in their face when you speak to them in sign language. They are like, oh wow, that itself. And we were like, oh, if Shujita was not there in our life, probably we would have never discovered this world. Yeah, we would have learned 5 other languages, but then this part of learning sign language, and like sometimes even when we are outside, or let's say me, my brother, or like three of us, we are just talking like that because it's fun, like it's something different. So I think these kind of small joys unknowingly that she has brought in our life also has kind of widened our perspective. So yeah, of course, it's great.
I would at this point want you to ask Srijita how she feels
Mm-hmm.
that she actually taught you something you didn't know, you being the
Yeah.
older sister, right?
Okay. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay. So she knew lip reading was a way of interaction for her, but then she understood that sign language is important. And she taught this to us, and she was very happy when we could talk. And she's telling that if she has to move fast, because what used to happen when she was younger, we used to go everywhere. And if somebody is telling name, she would say, Didi, write me the name. And everywhere we didn't have a pen, paper, and I was also too young to use pen, so we have to carry pencil or paper or something. And then it was very difficult every time to roam around with pen and pencil like that. But then when she understood that sign language is a way of interaction, or she could teach, so she understood, and she fast realized that she has to teach. If she has to move fast in life, she has to teach us sign language, and that's how
Wow.
she taught us. And then it's very easy for her to talk and to interact.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I'm curious, what has been her greatest motivator
Okay.
in her early days?
Okay. So, of course, alongside dad being one of the pillars in our family, I've already said, she understood that if she has to move ahead in life, she has to learn and she has to gain knowledge. And she's telling that learning and knowledge, these are the two words she's connecting to. These
Wow.
two things made her realize that okay, if she has to be smart in life, so smart and brave, these are the two things. Like as a kid, she would always say, oh, I'm brave. That means she can do things by herself. So she is telling if she had to move ahead in life, she understood that okay, learning and knowledge are the two most important things. If she is keeping herself open to learning and knowledge, she can proceed in life, she can move ahead in life. So these were the two key things, and alongside that helped her to be motivated always.
And you can see that, right? Like even when you said before that when she went to the special needs school,
Yeah.
before that at home, you were all treating her similar, and your
Yeah.
dad encouraged that. But for her to go to something that was special, and then for her that enthusiasm to learn a new language which is enabling her and come
Yeah.
home, and that
Absolutely.
also kind of shows what you just now said, that she saw knowledge as something that can empower her
Yeah.
so much. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What motivated her to shift from the fashion design to the hospitality industry, and change career, where and also to a hospitality industry where communication is a very important aspect of daily work?
Okay. So she's telling, when she was doing her studies, unfortunately or fortunately, her graduation year collided with COVID. So she's telling because COVID hit, so her graduation got delayed, and things were a little bit uncertain. And then of course market contexts change a lot. So based on the market scenario, she tried for jobs, But at that point of time, she didn't get anything major in her industry. And at that point of time, she was wasting time. So at that point of time, what was important was her to move on and do some job, to start some job, because she was losing on time. And then that's the time when the opportunity came for her, and she didn't want to wait. She just went there because she said, I want to start work. And she just joined. And more than choice, it was more of the decision of the moment, where she said, okay, I want to start. And again, she always wanted to learn something new. She said, okay, I just want to go ahead, and whatever opportunity comes on my way, I want to discover. So that's how she landed in the hospitality industry. And of course, she is telling, so there, they are given some kind of badges. So she is doing the back end job, where they don't have to directly communicate with the customers, even though there are customers who do come and approach them, but they would quickly redirect them to the right person, because they can't just say, they are being trained, you can't just say, I don't know. So she would direct them to the right person. And she was mainly responsible for the back end job, which was more with the systems.
And did she enjoy being in that space?
She's like, yeah, because it was something new, I enjoyed, and I got to learn new things. So I enjoyed it. Of course, in the beginning, it was a bit stressful because it was something new for her, but she enjoyed.
Rishita, you've been seeing her since her childhood, and
Yes.
you did share about how she taught you the sign language, which is a new thing which you don't really get to experience.
Yeah.
What are some moments that have stood out for you about her progress and about her experiences, which give you that wow moment?
Yeah. I think there are like countless. Of course, not because she's my sister, but to grow up I mean, of course, to grow up with her as a person, not just because she's my sister. But so first, I would say, so we used to learn swimming together. And just to give you a fact, I was terrified about swimming when I was a kid. I used to cry at the moment I would get the smell of chlorine. I would start crying. But for her, it was not the case. The moment she knew the lane we were entering to our swimming club, she would be so excited, and she would be like, yeah, I'm going to swim. So I think the first few moments were first time when she started learning swimming by herself, because she would train with the same trainers that we would be trained with. But then once she took her first leap, or the first swim by herself, we were like, oh wow, like she's swimming. Then she did, in their school, they did one dance drama, I think, which was Ramayan, and it was pulled off by 50 kids who were like her. And it was amazing, like we all had goosebumps and tears. I think I was around 8 or 9 that time. And it was really, really mesmerizing to see 50 kids who cannot hear, who cannot speak, they are pulling out a dance drama. And really, of course, hats off to the teachers, but it was amazing to see her. Then, of course, she would also go to a dance school where she was performing with other like kids. So she was there's an auntie in our club, and she said, okay, just bring her. And we just brought her, and she started. So she would learn music with beats. So like they would tap tap tap, and she would learn with the beats, and she performed with everybody else. Then I think also when she cleared her boards, like she did her the 10th boards and the classes, and we were like, oh wow. And I think she was a few of them who cleared it. And then we could say, oh yeah, she finished. I mean, again, for us also, I think when I did it, it was like, oh, I did it. But when we saw, she was younger to us, when we saw her doing that, we were like, oh wow. And of course, when she cracked her first job, and it was like all of it together. It just goes on and on and on. So there are so many moments like this.
Wow. I can imagine this joy you feel, when you see, even generally, when your sister does something, I think that is something very special you feel.
Yeah,
But for her, you have seen her through the struggles, and, to see her
absolutely.
achieve so much is very special.
Absolutely.
So I do see in the stories that you're sharing that a lot of support is there from your parents. And I want to talk about that first. Like, I want to ask Sreejeeta how she
Yeah.
feels about her parents' support in her life.
Okay. She's telling she really feels that family is very, very important, and having strong connection with the family and the bond, not just because of us. She's telling in general family bond and support is very important, and she's like, I am very thankful to my mom and dad for them to being in my life and the way she has done, and they have always been with her in whatever she wanted to do, and they have always encouraged, whatever she said, even though, yeah, of course, with, sometimes we want to do things which is not okay, and sometimes you would be like, oh, okay, oh no, but then she's really thankful with all the learnings that she has had with the help of the family.
It's a
Mm.
big thing to encourage and uh, know your child's limitations and strengths at the
Yeah.
same time and push them enough to move forward, right? Like
Yes.
she has that energy to learn and absorb new things, but with that support, it becomes even more amplified in a way.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
When you are speaking about strengths, Rishita, I want to understand from Shijita, were there any negative sides to it? Was there any instances where she had felt underestimated in the first glance from other people,
Okay.
her circle or at the workplace?
Okay.
If yes, how did she manage to navigate such moments?
Okay. So she's telling that, of course, in many instances, in many works of life, she has found this kind of challenges, where people are treating her a bit differently, or she would feel that, oh, this. And they had this in general, I'm telling you, they have this instinct very strong from very, very younger age. Whenever somebody would not like her, she would just come to us and say, Didi, I don't like her. So they would get this instinct and feeling. Their sixth sense are very, very strong, because I was like, for them, eyes and brain is everything. Like if their hearing is not there, you can understand how their brain and eyes work. So when she was very small, she would just come and say, Didi, I don't like her. Like she would just say like that. So she is telling she understood it very well. But then if she would stay with that thought, she will never go ahead in life. So very soon, and in life, she understood, and she said, I don't care. So if people are not treating her well, or she's not liking them, she said, I don't care, and she will go. If they are helping her, she is very happy to get their help and move on. But when people are not liking, she will not make them feel her let down. She will not get demotivated with the way they are thinking, but she would just say, I don't care, and she will do what she thinks, because she thinks that her capacity and her learning power is more important than people looking at her, the perspective.
It's something that generally people struggle with, right? Like what people say about them becomes so important. And the line you were saying, she kept saying when she was younger, that I am brave. It manifested in a very strong sense of self-worth for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would like to ask Sreejita, what
Yeah.
is one thing that she has done which she feels very proud of?
Okay. Okay. So she's telling that one thing that she's proud of is hard work, because she is independent and she doesn't need support of a lot of people in spite of the situation she is in. She is independent enough to navigate through different situation in life. So she is proud of the fact that she has that learning mindset and the hard work. She is putting in hard work to get through this kind of challenges. So she's proud of that fact.
With this conversation, I'm learning so many unique things, Rishita. So I'm curious about what has been your learnings seeing her journey throughout.
I mean, as I said in the beginning, like to know the fact. So, I would go to school, everybody had siblings, and then say, oh, my sibling is telling me this and that. And then I was like, I was too young. I was like, oh, why is not my sibling doing this to me? And then, of course, in general, we would fight a lot. And then I would say, okay, why she's doing this. And she would get the pampering part of it, being the youngest in the family. One day, my dad told me, just sit for 1 minute without hearing. Just close your ears and close your mouth and sit for 1 minute and don't do anything. And then I was like, okay. So after that, I came back to my dad, and I think that 1 minute or that one moment that kind of changed a lot of perspective in my life. And then I was like, okay, that was kind of awakening moment, I would say. And then after that, when we learned sign language, and then when we every time we would go somewhere with her in a new scenario or a new setup, I think every time it was a new learning for me. Like whether we were going to her school, or whether we were going to any place where she was in, or let's say just because I mean, again, I think I was the eldest. So in my dad's friends group, I was the eldest. And it was like, oh, Didi will take care of you guys. So I would have like 4 or 5 kids with me, and I used to get very uh, annoyed and pissed at times, because all of them would fight, and I had to go and resolve. And the best part was seeing Srijita among them, fighting with them, and then coming out winning the fight because she was so smart, and she was like, in the moment, she was so quick. She exactly knew what had to be done. Even like, I know it's a very funny example, but when we would fight, so we used to fight a lot, and she would scratch. I used to scratch her, and I used to like hit her and all. She was so smart. She would never do something like, she would punch me. So if she punches me, there was no marks or nothing that she could show my parents. And she would say, oh, Didi, she will go and say, Didi hit me. And I said, yeah, but she will show the scratches. And she was like, oh, Didi scratched me. And I said, but she hit me too, but I had nothing to show them. Then I realized that I was so dumb and she was so smart. Like, this was our everyday story. So every day dad would come back from office and she had like 3 scratches to show dad. I had nothing to show. So, these are small moments, but then I understood. And then every time we were planning something, me and my other cousin, we were in the same house, their instincts are so strong. She would know, and she knows how to ruin our plan as well. So she would do certain things. She will go complain to the grandparents, they are planning something, and they would get to know, and we couldn't do those things. So they are very small, like pity moments, but those moments made you realize that, oh wow, you have a younger sister who is much more smarter than you. And then at home she was that smart, so you can imagine outside how smart she was. And I think where she is today, of course we were there, but then she studied, she did her things, she cracked her own job, and it was such a proud moment that it was not by some sympathy or some reference. She went to the corporate, she cracked her interviews. So it's really amazing to see her growing. And this is what, like, my dad had always told, that whatever it is, she should earn things, nobody should give her things for free, thinking, oh yeah, 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 just give it to her because she's special. No, because she deserves it. She has put herself in that position today, and I think that is something like we all are proud of.
Yeah. And the relationship is so similar to every sibling relationship. But to add to that, you got an opportunity to learn patience and, a different way of communicating and understanding through this relationship.
Yes.
I'm very curious. I know your dad's coming up a lot in the conversation.
Yeah.
Uh, what do you both see in that matter? Where did your dad get that strength and wisdom to navigate something like this? Like, because when your child is involved, you can be emotional, right?
Yeah.
But to be empowering right from the beginning,
Mhm.
where do you think your dad got that from?
Okay, so to be very honest, I think in general, I mean, I'm talking in a very generic way. Like, moms are the one, they are like, oh, what will happen, let's do this, why did you do this? And my dad would be always like, it's okay, it will happen. And I think the best part, from the time we had that sense, and we had that kind of decision making skills, that taught us one thing: whatever you do in life, just the fact that whatever you do, you have to come and tell me. So in whichever aspect, especially when you are in that adolescence and teens, and you get wing stage. In fact, even for her, dad would tell her or us, saying, whatever you do, you go outside, do whatever, come home and tell me, dad, I did this. So I think that kind of transparency, my dad, I think, considering he was one generation behind us, but he had that openness and the thought process. He would read some books, and he had done some kind of courses in his life, in his work life and all of that, which kind of gave him those perspectives. So I would always see, in general, our friends around would hide and do things, and do they'll bunk school and they'll go somewhere. So we would go, we would tell our dad, I'm bunking tuition today and I'm going to meet this friend, and I'm going to meet, even she was doing that. And she's like, oh, dad, I think, I want to try this, can you give me this? So the best part was, even when she grew up, if she wanted to do something, first she would tell me, or dad, or my brother at home, that I want to try this. So the good thing was, before she did it out, or before she wants to go explore, she want to do it at home. That was also the good thing. And this kind of transparency, and mom would still scold us and fight with us, but the good thing is, because of dad, we knew we had that dad's calmness and the support. We always said that, okay, dad is there with us, whatever we do, dad is going to support. And that transparency also has helped Srijita and me to explore the world outside. So before doing some adventure outside, we would tell dad, oh, can we get home this? I want to try something. Even for her, it was the same thing. So that mindset itself, I think, kind of broadened our horizon, and told us, okay, why do you have to go out? Like, your dad is there at home, discuss. And like, even our friends would come home and say, oh, uncle, let's have something. So, those kind of things. So that itself, and she also grew up seeing us. So which means she had the same mindset, that, oh, if Dada Didi can do, I can try this as well. So those kind of things, really, I'm not saying we were role model for her, but because she was one among us, that also helped her to realize that, oh, okay, if they can, I can, in all perspective of life. So yeah.
And that's such a powerful way you put it, like your dad's calmness as well as openness,
Yes.
the two things that was like a foundation for her growth, your growth. Mothers are many a times, I feel, that silent a background voice. I want to know more about your mother also, because I do see even now for this, she's been supporting Srijita with preparing for this interview.
Yeah.
Tell me more about how she has supported her healing and growth.
Absolutely. So again, I think you put it the perfect way. So I think moms are like the silent support or the silent spectator somewhere in the background, even though they play such a crucial role in our growing up. So for mom, so she was, of course, apart from managing us and doing things, she was so that for us because dad was very calm and cool for us. He was the window of all the permissions. So whenever we would go to mom, she would be like, "Don't talk to me, talk to dad." So she was like that because she knew that okay, if dad says no, it's a no. If she says no, we are going to fight it back. But then I think what I would like to tell about mom after after dad left us. So it's going to be 6 years now. After dad left us, I think mom, she is a different lady who we knew before and now who she is, because all of a sudden now she has become like a superpower, because all this while she had the shelter of dad, and it was like okay, dad will do things. But then of course it was not at all an easy journey for her. It was not at all easy. But today when I look at her managing things by herself, and since I'm also not there with her, it's mom is managing Srijita all by herself, taking care, like managing her, adjusting to things, managing home, everything. She is now, it's like it just feels that she's a new mom that I have met in the last 6 years. And most importantly at this point of life where it's anything to start is difficult. I believe that at that age where she's in, to start something afresh, like taking responsibility, doing things and managing, and there are tough days as well where she's also not feeling the best. And then we also try to tell her that we should be grateful to the fact that at least we have those kind of things. And today everybody's telling mom that you know we are so proud to see Srijita here today, because it's so amazing to see. I'm not saying whether her friends are doing the same or not, but today she has an identity of her own. And people are
Yeah.
like, oh, Shijita's mom. And when they hear about her job and everything, they are like, oh wow, how did you do it? And she was just there, just as a support, backup support, saying I am there. But that itself was so commendable. I mean, of course, she can't just go and say, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I'm there for her," but silently being there with her and getting along her. And of course, after dad left us, the first 1 year was very difficult because Shijita was also in a different zone, because we were very very connected to dad. So for her, of course, her college was like in midway, and our dad leaving us also was very sudden thing. It was like in a span of 2 months. So for Shijita, he was very very bogged down, and she was completely in a different zone. To bring her from there and reaching out to her needs, all of that mom has done like by herself, and it's commendable. Like she's a different lady now, whom I knew 25 years back. She's a different lady now. Yeah.
It's quite a journey, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was wondering when Shidita also said family is important.
Yeah.
Do you that you want to share with other families, with our listeners
Hmm.
who are supporting their loved ones? And also for somebody who are facing similar challenges like you have faced.
Okay. So I think it's very simple. First, what is very very important is just being together. Of course there will be differences and there will be challenges, and even now and then we keep fighting with our mom and we argue, but at the end of the day, before we go to sleep, even that one text that, oh, it's okay, like whatever it is. So I think just that kind of, or I would say, ego is something that can never play a role in family. And that openness to say, oh, what will happen, like there should not be any shame or any ego in that way, because they are family. They have seen you from your day zero to where you are. And whoever it is in the family, if you just have that kind of mindfulness, saying, yeah, they are family, whatever happens, and just be with them, saying just a message saying, yes, I am there, or whatever you are doing, we are there. Like whether it's right, wrong, I think that itself kind of gives you peace of mind. Because behind your mind, if you're like, oh, my mom is not supporting me, my sister is not supporting, my dad is not supporting me, whosoever it is, if you just have the feeling, oh yeah, they're there with me, that kind of pumps you up and you are like, yes, I'm not alone. That feeling, it's, and nowadays I think in this extremely busy days of our life, all of us are so busy, you don't even have that moment to realize that, oh, I am grateful, like, I have people with me, even we have friends whom we talk once in a while. And even with Sreejeeta nowadays, like initially we used to, of course, every day we used to have calls, but now she's busy, she has work, I am busy, I have a kid. But then that 5-10 minutes we spend in the weekend, she knows that, oh, Didi will call me and I will play with the little one in over the phone. That itself kind of uplifts. And she's like, Didi, I'm going to call you on Saturday. So whatever it is, she also knows. And I think it's a message for everyone that just give that just that kind of peace of mind, saying, yes, we are there. And that is, I think, going to help a lot of problems. And whatever you are there, we will be there with you. So that itself kind of completes the circle and solves a lot of problem. And some, if you are of course close to the near and dear one, just some warm hugs, that kind of solve everything.
Yeah. Can you ask the same to Sreejita? I would love to know what she
Okay.
feels about this also.
Hmm. Okay, so she's telling that her message for everyone is, of course, like what she said, that first you be strong, like learn, grow yourself, gain knowledge, make yourself independent. And with that, like family coming along, it's just that when family is there, things become much more easier. And it feels that, yes, you can do it. Like, I think partially what I was also telling, you have that feeling, yes, you can do it. Just don't stop, because there are a lot of things that is making you sometimes a little slow. Don't stop, move on. And when family is there, all this small things put together, putting family in place, it, like, it will help you to go ahead in life.
And I can see that attitude has also brought her to do so many things. Like when you emphasize on learning, when you are talking about all the things Srijita does, she does dancing, sketching, she
Mm-hmm.
loves to travel and
Yeah.
photography.
Photography, yes.
How do these activities bring joy to her?
Okay. See, so she's connecting. So she's telling dancing is so dance, because she is not listening to music, she is connecting to music through dancing. So that she, so it's a way of learning. So she's learning music through the dance, like the beats and everything. Then when she's doing drawing, she is trying to put her imagination, because of course she's not like talking like us, she's trying to put her imagination in the paper, and that's how she's expressing herself. And photography gives her a lot of joy, because when she sees her own photo, it makes her confidence, and it gives a lot of happiness that she's seeing her photo and she's doing this photography. So these are the things that is kind of motivating her also to do. So these are the kind of things that she likes, like this kind of small small hobbies she likes. This is making her she's trying to say express her as an individual. These are the things. So if she's Sreejeeta today, it's because of all these things that she's seeing herself like this, and it's basically making her more confident, especially on the photography part.
That's a different way to look at self portrait, right?
Yeah.
I think somewhere we all do like it. Uh,
Yeah.
it can come from a place of, sometimes we don't want to click ourselves because we think we don't look good enough. But she
Exactly.
reiterating that, like, she does it because it makes her confident.
Absolutely.
I
And
think
she's
it's a
her
statement, right?
knowledge, yeah, and her knowledge is, and she just, I don't know how she learned, like the way the photos, the angles, and she's like, oh, no, no, if you have to take from this angle, and I'm like, what is this? And she's like, no, I'm telling you, you have to take from this angle. That's how selfies are taken. I'm like, oh, okay. Like she's teaching us, and her aesthetics are like really wonderful in photos.
Yeah. I see her very self-empowered, self-reliable, not really looking for the external motivation or the validation to be there to move forward. I'm curious how she really keeps herself in the same state when there are low moments, low phases, or there are any challenges that she faces in day-to-day life.
Okay. Okay. Of course there are a lot of moments like this, low or not so motivated, or little under the weather. So when she goes out, so every now and then she's hanging out. So they have a big community, wherever they go they have community basically. So she's like, whenever she's going out, she's meeting friends and she's going out, and not at home. So at home, if she's low or something, she don't want to be at home, she goes out and she meets friends, and she will go to cafes or some restaurants. And when she does this, when she does this outside activities, it kinds of gives her that fresh air. And then when she comes back home, she feels good, and she's like, oh, okay, I'm again ready to run. And also she's telling that she keeps thinking about dad, what dad used to tell her, like, be strong or things like that. So she's recollecting that dad was telling me this, and that kind of motivates me and keeps me running.
You were earlier also talking about she understands music through dancing. What is her secret to dancing gracefully? I'm curious how she finds that beat or rhythm,
Uh-huh. Okay.
uh, when she can't really hear the music.
Okay. Okay, she wears the hearing aid, right? So when she wears the hearing aid, so of course she can't listen the music, but with the aid, she's able to get beats. And with the beats, she relates to 1, 2, 3, like that. So when she gets that rhythm, so she's marrying the hearing aid with the music and the beats. And with that, when she does 1, 2, 3, like that, she gets that traction. I mean, that beats for her, that's beats, and that's how she learns. That's how she picks up dance.
And how does she feel when she's dancing? What is her emotion?
Okay, so when she is dancing, she has different emotions. She has happy, she has sad, she has all kind of emotions, like depending on which state she's in. So she has, it's not like every time dancing makes her happy, but because it's a way of expressing as well. So sometimes she's also feeling sad, sometimes she's feeling happy when she is dancing and when she's expressing herself.
I guess for her, it also becomes a more easier way to express.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like she's able to let it out saying, oh yeah, it's like it's always not about happiness that you're dancing. Like it's a way for her to express saying, oh, or let's say something that she's not okay with. She's like, okay, let me express it to the dance. So yeah, it goes both ways.
It brings a very important thing that we usually don't talk about, that words are not just the way to express, right? We usually talk about words as a mode of expression as well as maybe some facial expressions,
Yes,
right? But
absolutely.
this conversation is actually making me realize and bringing to the light all the different ways that in this world communication actually happens, right?
Yeah,
Expression
true,
really happens.
true.
Rishita, I want to ask you, like, growing up with Sreejeeta as a sibling, has it shaped your own views on inclusivity and resilience?
Yeah. Yeah. So first and foremost, I think, I'm really at this stage of life, I'm really thankful that I have got the opportunity of exploring something like this. And somewhere down the line, if we have come, it's just my personal thought process, if we are here in this world today, we all have a purpose. That purpose might be even, just to be a daughter or a mother or whatsoever. But of course I have become a mom now, but the past 30, 31 years of my life, when I realized, I always felt that I, like, me coming into this world, one of the biggest purpose was to be Shrita's sister. Because in so many situations, many times, that I have felt that, oh, okay, I am able to contribute to her. And also especially, I think I was explaining earlier, when I would go to their school, I was very young, I was probably 10, 12 years old, or something like that. So those times when I would go to their school and I would talk to her friends with whatever basic sign language I knew, there were some kids who would come running to me. They would take my hands and they would kiss my hands. Like they were like really tiny, tiny kids. Like today, I think I was too young to realize it that time. But today, when I look back and I see those moments, those kids coming and giving you a hug or giving you a kiss. Those kind of moments, it was so special. Because I mean, probably if I had just another sibling, I would, of course, like, it would be just another sibling. But uh, because of Shrujita, I met so many wonderful souls. And the thing is, their love is so pure. Like I was telling, their instincts are very strong. So for them,
Yeah.
if they love you, they will love you. Like they will give their everything to you. If they don't like you, and they are so straightforward, they are like, I don't like you, they will say like that. And when those kids are coming and giving hugs and kisses, it's like, oh wow. And today, even here, like I go out and I see somebody like Srijita, I just go and say, like, thank you to them, or just try to say, what is your name? And their eyebrows are like this, and they are like, oh wow. Like those moments, I think if Shrita was not there in our life, it would never have been the case. So of course, and I think, when Shrita was in our life, the word inclusivity was not there, or it was there but somewhere hidden, or it was there in the dictionary. But today, when we see her here, and we see her community here, and everywhere she goes, I'm not even like saying, because it's she's my sister. She has friends everywhere. She came to visit me, and then she came home with a bunch of friends, and I was like, who are they? She's like, oh, I have friends here. I was like, wow. So this kind of thing. And I think that is the beauty. And I think also, to an extent, social media, again, there are both side of social media, but I think this part of social media is amazing, that they are connecting people. They are connecting, if you use it the right way. I feel it's a beautiful thing that we can use for positive uses. And like Srijita has friends all across, I don't know where all, but it's thanks to social media. And I think because of this, I'm also learning so many things. The perspective, the thought process, the horizon has widened so much because of her coming into our life. Of course, I have friends, but I'm sure a lot of my friends don't know this part of the world, which we know thanks to her.
So powerful, right?
Yeah.
Was thinking when you were mentioning about, I see you a lot saying it is because of her we are blessed.
Yeah.
But when I see generally outside in the world, there is more of sympathy than empathy and unconditional love. What do
Yeah.
you want to say about that?
Yeah, I think I would rather say this is the ugly truth, in terms of this is how the world sees. In fact, even with my husband, we keep discussing whenever she's doing something or she's sharing her achievement, we are saying, oh, and in general, it's like, oh, wow, like, oh, you did it. And like Sushant, my husband, he's always with the opinion that never give her, don't encourage her so much. She has done it because she's capable of doing it, not because she's special. Just tell her, yeah, great. Even if some other sibling would have done, we would be like, oh, great. So she has a lot more to discover, because her potential is huge. And again, today, the point, Yash, that you said, that yeah, people are looking at looking at it with sympathy and all of that. But today, with connecting with the previous question that Roshni you asked, if we are talking about inclusivity, it cannot come hand in hand. Like if you are saying inclusivity, then they have to be one among us, and they cannot win with sympathies. Like if there are people, I'm sure, like in the world, much more there are people facing much more difficulty than Srijita, or people like Srijita are facing, and they are winning over a lot more big things in life. Like we see the world around, and people are so, like, they are going out of their way to achieve things. So this is the time, or I think this is not the time. The time has come much before, and now we are continuing, where we have to be we have to treat them one among us. Yeah, of course, there are two ways to it. We can just say, oh yeah, she's like this, and just live with it. Oh, just give her sympathies, or just move on and say, yes, she's one among us, and she has to run the race with us, because she's already in the race. If she was today, if she was at home not doing anything, or she would be like, oh, I'm like that, probably we would have not had this expectation from her, or we would be like, oh, she's like that. but she has come a long way. If she can travel alone in a flight, there is nothing like that. It's not something small. Even when we take a flight, we are like, oh, flight. But if she has taken a flight by herself, she has done it. So my expectation is now she's going to take 4 more other flights by herself because she is capable of doing it. So I think
Yeah.
that is the way that we should start thinking, saying if they can take 2 steps, they can take the next steps as well. Yeah, maybe some hurdles will come, they will fall down, but the point is they have to get going in the race.
Yeah. And that's a very important perspective you're bringing in, while you're talking about it. The way I see it, it is not about sympathizing with something she does not have, but taking inspiration from the fact that despite this
Yes,
obstacle,
yes,
you can go ahead. What are the things, like even this conversation today, I think is bringing out that particular point out, that nothing should limit you.
yeah,
It should it should just be about, despite this, how we go ahead. And Srijita's story is inspirational in that sense. It is opening doors for other people who are stuck in that thought that I can't do it,
yeah,
can also go ahead and do it.
absolutely, absolutely. It's
And
just the taking that one step, that okay, let's try. That itself, yeah, maybe you will fall, maybe you will not succeed, but trying has no cost. Maybe that try will open up so many more windows and so many different unexplored situations or unexplored opportunities. Then you will be like, oh wow, I can do this, or I didn't know that I could do this. So yeah, it's just about taking that one leap.
I also see that, okay, one part of what we see around, like hearing or speaking, is one part of our existence, right? But like you pointed out, for Srijita, the intuition or the instinct is so much stronger.
Yeah,
Can we work with people's strengths rather than going on observing what uh, is not their strong point? If
absolutely.
this is less, something else is much more than a other person around you. So
Yes,
how can we tap into that potential much more?
absolutely, absolutely.
And with this, I want to ask Srijita this. What does breaking stereotype mean to her? Does
Okay.
she realize that by just moving out of that mold, she is breaking stereotypes in a way?
Okay. Okay. So she's trying to say that with whatever she has, she's also trying to help others, to say that, okay, if I am like this, I'm trying to relate to what she's saying. She's exactly not saying breaking stereotype, but I will try to connect what she's telling. She knows that, okay, this is how she has reached wherever she is today. With that, she is trying to help others also, that how she can contribute in their life. She is very active in social media, so she keeps seeing a lot of videos and she's doing a lot of scrolling, and she learns a lot of things, and she's trying to see how she can use those things in her life to develop herself or to make like get going. And then she is helping others to reach a place where she is, or if they are stuck somewhere, and she's also trying to help others to get along her way with whatever way and whatever means she has with.
That's beautiful way to move forward with the legacy. I was just thinking, our world is constantly bombarded with a lot of loud
Yeah.
noises and quick responses. We listen not just to listen, but just to respond very quickly on what they're saying.
Mhm.
But I'm curious how Shrejita handles um, on truly hearing those voices.
So it's very simple. So what she's just telling that I was talking about intuition. So very simple. When I hear people talking or they're talking, she's telling talking in the sense when people are commenting or they are saying something. She's like, when people are talking, she gets that vibe and that instincts that okay, these people are good and they are saying good things. She will learn more and she will do lip reading. The moment she gets that intuition, these people are not for good, she will just say, I will not look at them and I don't care. And the moment I get that vibe that they are not good for me, she kind of withdraws herself from there, and she says that I don't need to get into their zone of talking. So she just kind of let it go.
Yeah,
It,
I feel it's a beautiful skill, right? Like um, you're not
it's like a superpower.
yeah, yeah, definitely. You're not tainted by the words, but more of what they are inside, and not
And
just
I think
case.
just if somebody would ask us this question, we would get into the headspace of thinking, okay, yeah, what they are saying. And for her, it's very simple. She's like, just eliminate or just move on, like this kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah, I'm sure her internal world is so peaceful compared to all of.
So you don't have to take a lot in because like there will be still some space in the head. For us, our space is head is overloaded, right? So
And that's something to learn from for each of us. Listening to this for the three of us here, I think it is a very important message to listen
yeah,
to, that how do you keep your own energy intact
yeah.
where there is so much noise. I'm again curious, Shrijita, is there somebody who, in the public world, maybe through books or movies, is there some role model
Huh.
that she found through her journey, whom
Okay.
she read about or looks up to?
Okay. Okay. So she has read about Helen Keller. So she is telling that Helen Keller, she has read about like her life and her stories of her life. So she has taken inspiration from her.
Wow. Yeah, I think Helen Keller has been very inspirational for a lot of people who have different kinds of different
Yeah.
abilities.
Yeah.
Uh, and to that, I want to ask if somebody would remember her, what legacy does she want to leave behind?
Okay. She's telling that in like in normal way, if somebody, like, for her more than, she's like how she want to be remembered by people. So as a person, as a personality who's, like, jovial, excited, and for basically for the person that she is today, she want to be remembered, like, she has not really stopped herself from anything because of whatever challenges she has faced. So she wants to be known as somebody who has moved on and wherever she is today. So she wants to be, with the personality that she has, she wants to be remembered like that.
Muted. So I want to ask Sreejeeta,
Yeah.
he has to leave a message to the world. What would
Okay.
that?
Okay. Okay. Okay, okay. So she's just telling the world, just the awareness to the world that she's hearing impaired, this awareness to the world that they exist and they are like everybody. So because she's telling that people don't even know that this kind of challenges are there in somebody's life. So she's just telling that people should be aware of the fact that this kind of problems exist, but that doesn't stop them from doing, they are doing everything that all of us are doing. So they are one among us, and she's just telling people to be a little more how do I say, knowledgeable, saying that this exists, but that doesn't stop them, that they are also part of the world today, what everybody is doing.
That's a very powerful reiteration, she's giving all of us. I just want to extend the question a bit and ask, is there something she would like to, for, the workplace or work industry to know about people like her, that
Okay.
can make it more easy for them to uh, do everything they want to do?
Okay. So she's telling that for the workplace to be like little more aware that, okay, for when you have people like them in the business, so she's telling lip reading is important. So not everybody will know sign language. So when they are interacting with them, if they are a little bit aware of the sign language part, and if that they can be a little more compassionate, at least on their way of interaction and talking. So I think this is, I can relate to, it's, I think it's a challenge that is coming from her experience that she has faced. So she's telling if people are a little more aware that lip reading is also helping them a lot, and if they can be a little more compassionate on this skill, that will really help their community to gel along well in the market.
And that is something that we want to put forward through this conversation, that, there is, of course, determination. That is a part that they bring. But if, as a society, as a community around them, there are things that we could learn, we could be more aware of, that's the best way that we can support and make the
Yeah.
world more inclusive in a way,
Yeah.
to have these people, right?
Absolutely.
Uh, Sreejeeta and Rwishita, thank you both for being here and for inviting us into your world with such honesty, warmth, and strength. We've learned so much from this conversation, me and Yash for sure, and I'm sure the listeners are going to get so much from this conversation, which was not just a story, it was a mirror for us, like to see the world in a more clearer way. It reflected the quiet power of presence and courage of showing up authentically, and the beauty of creating space where sound isn't needed to feel seen or heard, and also to be celebrated as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you've reminded us that silence is just not the emptiness. It's a language of resilience, grace, and strength that is often overlooked in the world that we celebrate loud noises. Thank you for showing us a new world.
Yeah. She's telling, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. This is also a very new experience for her, which she has never done. So she also learned, like, something new today. So she's telling, thank you for giving us the opportunity, and thank you for inviting us. And yeah, thank you from my side as well. Thank you for being patient in the whole process, because it's something that we have never done as well. And
Yeah.
I think she also told that it's her way for her to let the world know, or it's a new platform where she can tell what she thinks, or what she is, or what she has done. So thank you for that.
I hope this encourages her to make more videos, not just the photos, but
Yeah.
make more videos with captions, or something where she can actually reach out to people and tell her story more often.
Absolutely, absolutely. She said, yeah, sure, she will.
So, dear listeners, in a world rushing to be louder, perhaps it's time we slow down to listen differently to the stories that aren't always spoken but are deeply lived, nevertheless. This week, try truly listening to someone without rushing to respond. Notice what changes when you give spaces to voices that aren't loud but are deeply powerful. Become more aware.
We would like you to take a reflective space and leave you with few gentle questions to carry forward. First, what does strength look like to you? And could look also like quiet confidence. Second, what assumptions do I hold about communication, ability, or expression that might be limiting how I see others or myself? Third, are you truly listening to people around you, especially those who speak in ways you're not used to hearing?
Dear friends, as we close this conversation, we invite you to sit with what you have heard, not just in the words, but in the spaces between them. Srijita's journey reminds us that silence is not absence, it is presence, it is power, it is intuition, and it is a different kind of voice, one that challenges the world simply by being true to itself.
This episode isn't just about breaking stereotypes. It's about expanding our definition of what it means to be seen, to express, and to belong. Because sometimes the most profound stories are lived quietly and yet leave the loudest echo.
If this episode moved you, made you pause, or helped you see differently, made you more aware, we hope you carry that shift with you and share it forward. Every time we make space for someone to be fully themselves, we create a more compassionate world. Thank you for listening to The Human Weave. Don't forget to subscribe and tune in for more conversations that challenge, inspire, and connect. Until next time, it's goodbye from your host, Roshan Yash. Stay connected, stay curious.